Hey, what's up, folks? How's it going? This is Avijit here, and welcome to Devops Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question. And today's interview question is: how do you decide the CIDR block for a VPC and its subnets? So when we decide the CIDR block, let's say 10.0.0./16 or /24, how do we decide? How do we pick up that number for VPC and the subnets? There must be some criteria, right? There must be some considerations, constraints we need to look into. What are those items? So let's start. So we already discussed about what is CIDR VPC in our previous interview questions. You can have a look at the playlist if you have not seen the previous videos. So first thing to consider is the size. What will be the size of your VPC? Whether your company is as big as Flipkart, they're going to like thousands of instances they're going to launch in VPC, or they will have just a few instances. So how big is the size? And you need to also plan for future growth. Maybe your company is growing. In future, there will be like a lot more you are expecting that it will be added. And once you decide the VPC, you cannot expand. So you have to allocate generously, keeping the future growth in mind. Right? So plan for future growth. This is very important. It's much easier to start with larger CIDR block than to try and expand it later. So anticipate future changes, services, and instances counts. So if you go for /16, it provides 65,536 IP addresses. This is recommended for most cases. This is widely adopted and highly flexible choices. It offers ample IP addresses. /16 offers like 65,000 almost IP addresses. /20 offers 4,000 IP addresses. It's okay, good for smaller deployment, suitable for smaller or more content project or specific use cases where total number of resources is well defined. /24, it provides 256 address. /24 means 24 for network, 8 for host. Okay. And 2 to the 8 means it's 256. So it's for very small environment. It's technically possible, but 256, it's too restrictive. It won't allow future growth, and generally subnet like VPC should have at least one single subnet. If you want to have multiple subnets and then want to expand for future, this is not suitable. But it's okay for very small deployment. We need to understand that we cannot expand VPC CIDR after creation. So we have to plan generously. So size matters. Size, we have to consider the size. We have to keep this size in consideration. Next point is IP range selection. We cannot select random IP ranges. We have to select IP ranges only private IP. It can't be public IP. VPC cannot be public IP. It's a private IPs. RFC 1918 private IP ranges only. We have to go by this RFC. RFC 1918. So these are the ranges given in RFC 1918. 10.0.0/8, 172.16.0.0/12, 192.168.0.0/16. So these are the ranges given. And from this range, we can pick it up. Like for example, from here, I can pick up 10.0.0.0/16. The next one to consider, uh, when we are picking up the range, it should avoid conflict with on-premise network. So your VPC is connected to, let's say, on your on-premise network, or you are going to connect it to another VPC. So there should not be conflict. You assign this to one VPC, and same range if you assign, or subset of this you assign to another VPC. So there will be conflict, right? You assign /16 in another VPC, you assign /24 of this range. There will be conflict, right? So you don't want to have same IP address when they're connected. There will be conflict. So that you have to avoid. So maybe you assign, if your office is assigned this ranges, so you can pick up from these ranges, so there is no conflict. Avoid conflict with other VPCs for peering and on-premise network. So conflict IP range as per the RFC, and these are the important things for IP range selection. Now, next one is subnet CIDR planning. How do you plan the subnet CIDR? So subnet, generally, we need to distribute into multiple subnets, break into subdivision, right? VPC, the continuous range of IP address, like contiguous block of IP address. We want to break into small chunks. So we need to have public subnet, private subnet. So web servers will be in the public subnet, application server, database server, you will be keeping in private subnet. So you may have three, right? Three-tier application. Public web server, private application server, and the private database server. So public, private, private. And then you want to have availability, high available system. So in one availability zone, one location, one availability zone, you have one public, private web server, application server, database server. In another area, means another zone, maybe you in the same area in another availability zone, you will be keeping public, private. So total 3 plus 3, 6. So divide VPC CIDR into smaller subnet blocks. So if it is a VPC /16, divide /24 or /20 subnets. So /16 VPC you divide /24/20. Plan for multiple availability zone, minimum 2 availability zone, to ensure your application remains available even if one site is down, one availability zone is down, right? Let's say California or New York North is down, New York East is okay up because maybe power cut or some failure, hardware failure, thing is down. Then reserve space for future subnets. So few space you reserve it for future subnets. You want to create a future, you may have need for extra subnets. So reserve that space. Don't allocate every possible subnet immediately. Consider public versus private. Recommend public subnet content resources that need direct internet access, like web server, load balancer, NAT gateway. They are associated with a route table that has a route to an internet gateway. Then you will have private subnet content resources that should not be directly accessible from internet. The route table typically, route outbound internet traffic through NAT gateway. Con patterns, we'll look at some con patterns like VPC CIDR is 10.0.0/16. So 65,000 almost IP addresses. So we'll break it into 10.0.0.1.0.24, 256 IP address will get. Then 10.0.20, 10.20.30, right? Public, private, and different availability zone. We can break it into that. Since there are 3 plus 3, total 6. Web server, database server, application server, 3 subnet, and we need to put it into 2 availability zone. So 3 into 2, 6. Total 6 we can create. 1, 2, 3, 10.040, 10.050, 10.060. We could also use /20 subnet if we need more IP address per subnet. Here we have only 256, but this 256 all won't be available. That is also important. This 256 all won't be available, so that also we need to remember, because 5 will be reserved in AWS. Best practices: leave gap between subnets for future expansion. Use a consistent numbering scheme so that it's easy to follow, like 10.40, 50, 60. These are the subnets, so it's easy to follow. Right? Use a consistent numbering scheme. Document IP allocation strategy. Maintain clear documentation of your VPC CIDR. Consider reserved IPs. AWS reserves, as I said before, first 4 and last 1. So AWS, like out of this 256, AWS will reserve first 4 and last 1. 10.0.6.0 will be network address. 10.0.6.1 will be your here a VPC router. Then DNS address will be reserved. Future use it will be reserved, and broadcast will be the last one. So total 5 will be reserved. You won't be able to use it. So factor this into your calculation when you are, especially for smaller subnet, especially for this /24, because you already have just only 256. So if you remove 5, you will have only 251 for your instances. Plan for different tiers, web, app, database management, right? You can have different tiers, you can have monitoring, right? So there are different tiers you may have to plan for it. And segmenting your network into logical tiers enhances security and simplify network access control. You can use different security group, network ACLs, different subnets, you will have different network access control list. So that's why you break into different tiers. Account for auto-scaling requirement. Ensure that your subnet has sufficient IP address to accommodate maximum number of instances that your auto-scaling group might launch during peak hours or scaling event when there is a lot of load, like a lot of users are visiting your websites. So it should be able to scale up. You should have enough IP addresses available, right? So these are the important points to think of when you are deciding on CIDR block for a VPC and its subnets. So size considerations, small, big, right? This size consideration, IP ranges, RST 1918, use private one, right? These are the IP ranges, avoid conflict. In case if you're connecting to your office premise and BBC peering is working. If you're not doing that, then it's fine. But try to avoid that. Subnet CIDR planning into smaller block, then multiple availability zones. Think about different tiering, reserve IP addresses. So all these things you have to gap between future expression. Okay, so let's go to today's quiz section. Which of the following CIDR block is most commonly recommended for a new VPC in AWS for future scalability? Which one you will go for future scalability? Today, this one. 10.0.0/16. Almost 65,000 IP address will be getting here, right? So answer is C. Why should you avoid using overlapping CIDR blocks in different VPCs? It slows down VPC, no, it causes conflict during VPC peering. It will cause conflict. It's really ambiguous where to send the traffic because both having uh, same IP address. Both instances may have same IP address because there is a conflict. It causes conflict during VPC peering. Which of the following are valid IP addresses ranges as per 1918? Choose all that up, right? 10.0, 170, 192. So all these three are valid. ABC valid, D is not valid. What is the major limitation of a VPC CIDR block once created? Major limitation of VPC CIDR block once created is it cannot be expanded, resized later. It cannot be resized later. Answer is B. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, and comment. And let me know how you are finding this video. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my Devops Challenge Hub page. And I post quiz and contests daily. You can participate in that. And follow my WhatsApp channel where I will be posting the updates. And thank you for watching this video. See you again in the next video.